For almost a year, Real Housewives fans kept asking the same question. Would Bravo ever bring back one of the wildest, most unpredictable shows in the entire franchise? And for months, Andy Cohen stayed quiet, until he walked on to the BravoCon 2025 stage and dropped an announcement that instantly exploded across social media. It wasn't teased, it wasn't hinted at, it landed like a shockwave. Andy finally revealed the future of the series, and the reveal suggested that something much bigger is happening behind the scenes at Bravo. What he shared wasn't just a simple comeback. It was a sign that the entire franchise might be heading in a new direction, right as it approaches one of the biggest milestones it has ever reached. Andy didn't even warm up the crowd. He went straight into it. Ultimate Girls Trip is back, he said, and it's coming to Bravo in 2026. But then he paused and dropped the twist that nobody expected. The series wasn't returning in its original form. Instead, it was being transformed into something completely new. The Real Housewives Ultimate Road Trip. The name alone had people confused for half a second until they realized what it meant. A traveling housewives series? Why change a format that already produced some of the most chaotic crossover moments in Bravo history? It didn't take long for fans to start dissecting the meaning behind the shift. Andy explained that the new series would celebrate 20 years of Real Housewives history, and the moment he emphasized iconic housewives from across 2 decades, everything changed. Suddenly, fans began imagining all the possible returning faces, the OGs who defined early seasons, the legends who carried entire storylines on their backs, and the wild cards who left the franchise on unforgettable terms. Andy didn't even confirm a single name, but he didn't have to. The speculation took over instantly. People started wondering whether this was just nostalgia or if Bravo was sending a bigger signal that the franchise was entering a new phase. And the timing isn't random. 2026 marks the 20-year anniversary of The Real Housewives of Orange County, the series that started everything back in March 2006. When RHOC premiered, it was supposed to be a simple experiment, a peek into the lives of wealthy women in Orange County. Nobody expected it to transform into the reality TV universe we know today, reshaping pop culture, launching countless spin-offs, and introducing personalities who became household names. But hitting 20 years isn't just an anniversary, it's a turning point. And fans have noticed that Bravo tends to use big milestones to rethink the entire brand. In the months leading up to BravoCon, online theories began circulating about a possible Housewives reset. Not a cancellation or reboot, but a shift back to what made the early seasons so addictive. Fans have been asking for lighter energy, more authenticity, and less of the heavy storylines that sometimes overshadow the fun. And when Andy announced the road trip format, those theories only grew stronger. It didn't feel like a random spin-off. It felt intentional, as if Bravo wanted to bring the show back to its roots, but in a fresh way that honors the history without repeating it. The road trip twist is what really threw people off, in a good way. Instead of placing everyone in one location and letting tensions build inside a single mansion, Bravo is moving the cast across different housewives' cities. That alone changes the entire dynamic. Being stuck in one house creates pressure. Being on the road creates unpredictability. Every stop has its own energy, its own memories, and its own history from the past 20 years of the franchise. And that opens the door for something fans haven't seen in a long time: genuine surprise. The only confirmed stop so far is Orange County, the birthplace of the franchise. But the rest? That's where speculation is running wild. Fans are convinced New York will be part of the journey, especially now that the RHNY cast has finally stabilized after years of shifting directions. Atlanta is another favorite guest because of its major cultural impact. Some people think a Miami stop would fit perfectly with the high-energy comeback the city has had. And a few theories, totally unverified but heavily discussed online, suggest that one of the stops could revisit the location of a past feud that never truly got closure. But the biggest storm of speculation is about the cast. The second Andy said iconic housewives from across 2 decades, fan pages went into detective mode. People started analyzing who showed up at BravoCon and who conveniently skipped it. Who suddenly followed Andy on social media, who posted cryptic captions like "new chapter loading" or "back where it started." And while none of this is confirmed, certain names show up again and again in fan discussions. Viewers are convinced that some of the most memorable housewives, especially the ones who left unexpectedly or under dramatic circumstances, might be ready for a comeback. There are even rumors, purely based on fan buzz, that someone who famously stormed out during a reunion taping could be returning for the first time in years. Nothing official yet, but the speculation alone has already created more hype than the last few seasons of Girls Trip combined. Amidst all the chaos of BravoCon, Bravo executive Frances Berwick released a statement that surprised fans more than they expected. She described the new series as a love letter to the women who built the Real Housewives legacy, the ones who turned a small reality show into a global phenomenon. On the surface, the statement felt sentimental, but longtime viewers noticed something deeper in her wording. She emphasized authenticity, ambition, humor, and strength, the traits that defined the franchise before social media changed everything. Before cast members became brands, before storylines became so strategic. Fans started reading between the lines. Was Bravo hinting that they wanted to strip the franchise back down to its core? The rest of BravoCon only fueled those questions. Andy revealed the finalized RHNY cast. He dropped the trailer for The Real Housewives of Rhode Island, the newest addition to the franchise. He teased new directions and new energy coming in 2026, and every announcement seemed to point toward the same message. The franchise is entering a transition, one that goes far beyond just a road trip. It's no secret that Real Housewives has faced challenges in recent years. Some seasons struggled to capture the spark that made earlier episodes iconic. Others felt weighed down by heaviness or too controlled by social media narratives. And with so many cities running for so many years, fans started asking the difficult question: what happens when a reality show reaches the 20-year mark? How do you keep a franchise fresh without losing what made it special? Ultimate Road Trip feels like part of the answer. It brings back nostalgia without relying on old storylines. It mixes generations of housewives who never crossed paths. It brings the show into the real world, literally. And it forces the cast into a setting where they can't hide behind familiar routines or predictable formats. Even the idea of revisiting the cities themselves carries a kind of symbolic meaning, almost like Bravo is retracing the franchise's evolution step by step. Not all fans are completely relaxed about it, though. Some worry that too much nostalgia means Bravo might be trying to patch holes instead of pushing forward. Others wonder whether bringing in past stars who had messy exits will create tension for the wrong reasons. There's also debate about how much the franchise should evolve. Should it return to the lighthearted chaos of early seasons, or should it keep pursuing more dramatic, complex storylines? And how do you mix 2 decades of cast members without overwhelming the show? Unfortunately, there's no way to know until Bravo starts releasing real details. But whether fans feel excited or nervous, everyone agrees on one thing. This announcement is bigger than just another season of a spin-off. It represents a shift in how Bravo wants to tell housewives' stories moving forward. 20 years is a long time for any reality show to stay relevant, and yet Real Housewives hasn't just survived, it's grown, transformed, and shaped a generation of pop culture moments that nobody will ever forget. And now, 20 years later, Bravo is taking the franchise back to the place where it all began, not to repeat the past, but to try to understand how the next 20 years should look. Ultimate Road Trip isn't just a nostalgic celebration. It's a doorway, a new direction, a testing ground for the future of the entire franchise. And if the rumors, the fan theories, and the subtle signals from Bravo are even partly true, then the next chapter of Real Housewives might be the most important and the most unpredictable chapter the franchise has ever had. Because this isn't just another season. It's the beginning of something new. And fans can feel it already.